Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rokah HaKodash, and double honors to the apostles and bishops of Great Millstone who teach and rule well, and salutations to the prophets and beloved brothers continue to exhort the sheep in these last days, and a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect listening in, to the 12 tribes scattered abroad, shalom and shalom. The title of this epistle is going to be entitled, The Day of the Lord's Visitation. The day of the Lord's visitation, it draweth nigh. We can consistently see a pattern of judgment and prophetic things going on in the world, escalating and intensifying. And Yahweh Shai's strong arm is still stretched out still unto his people to hearken and to repent and to turn back to Yahweh Shai, so you do not receive of her judgments, receive of her plagues. That's written in Revelation chapter 18, somewhere around verse 3 to 5. The day of the Lord's visitation, Yahweh Shai has given us warning and has given us prophets and seers in these latter times, resurrected from the dust, having that Ruach HaKodash entered into them as they stand upon their feet to deliver unto you the message of salvation, judgment, and the wrath to come. So hearken unto Yahweh while you have the opportunity to. Let's go into Isaiah chapter 46. The day of Yahweh Shai's vengeance is evidently draweth nigh. You do not want to wait until these things are up in your face and try to make those adjustments to appease the anger of the Lord. It will be too late. It will be too late. That shows no faith when you can see it evidently clear in your face, but you must turn to him now while you may have the opportunity. We're going to Isaiah chapter 46. Isaiah chapter 46, and we'll grab verse 8 to 10. It reads, Remember this, and show yourselves men. Bring it again to mind, O ye transgressors. You need to investigate the scriptures and hearken unto the prophets that are diligently, day in and day out, exhorting, rebuking, giving you lessons on reforming your ways and turning to Yahweh Shai and putting on righteousness and separating yourselves from iniquity and sin. He says, remember this and show yourselves men. Bring it again to mind, O ye transgressors. Remember the former things of old. Look at the past of judgments, wrath, blessings, what he said is going to come to pass. Bring these to your mind and diligently hearken and take heed to it. Remember the former things of old. For I am the Most High, and there is none else. I am the Most High Yahweh, our power, and there is none like me. There is only one, the almighty power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He is the only power in the earth. For this scripture, the word made manifest, is the only living source that we have tied to a living power that evidently shows that he is alive in the earth. This is the only one. Isaiah chapter 46 and verse 10, it says, declaring the end from the beginning. No other book, no other word has declared the end from the beginning. This is the 100% sound truth of the gospel being delivered unto you by the prophets of Great Millstone, the teachers, the shepherds, the apostles, the bishops. You're being fed properly. Declaring the end from the beginning and from the ancient times, the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. Everything that is being done and being manifest in the earth is of the Most High Yahweh Shai's will. His counsels shall stand. Not one thing is outside of himself. No man can manifest or do anything without his approval. This is his story. He declares the end from the beginning. And as we are in the beginning stages of sorrows, we are declaring these things to enlighten those eyes, if you have the eyes to see and ears to hear of the things to come, to turn, make those adjustments now. Seek ye Yahweh while he may be found, so you may be hid in the day of his fierce anger, because the day of Yahweh's visitation draweth nigh. We see the double earthquakes happen in Venezuela. These things are not by happenstance or coincidence, but these are all being made manifest as a measurement to declare prophetic events becoming intensified according to the scriptures, right? We see and hear of pests and diseases and civil unrest and global warfare, economic structures are being brought low. These are all prophetic things. He says, declaring them from the end, declaring the end from the beginning. It is all written. If you believe, you believe. Let's go to Habakkuk chapter 3 and verse 2. Habakkuk 3 and verse 2, it says, O Yahweh, I have heard thy speech and was afraid. Habakkuk believed the report and it made him afraid. He had faith to believe that what he was receiving was the earnest truth of Yahweh. He says, O Yahweh, I have heard thy speech and was afraid. O Yahweh, revive thy works in the midst of the years. In the midst of the years, make known. In wrath, remember mercy. He understood what was going to take place. The judgments, the pestilence, the famines. He says, in wrath, remember mercy. That's why he was afraid, because he remembered that there was wrath underway for all the iniquities and all the abominations that are done in the earth therein. When you know to fear Yahweh, you should tremble. You should self-examine your ways. This is why in Isaiah chapter 46 and verse 8, he says, remember, again, bring it to mind before these fierce judgments come upon you, and you will not escape. Consider your ways, knowing the fear of Yahweh and the judgments to come. Let's go to Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 12. Ezekiel chapter 12. And we'll grab verse 22 to 23. It reads, Son of man, what is this proverb that ye have in the land of Yasha'Allah, saying, the days are prolonged, and every vision faileth? Tell them, therefore, thus saith Yahweh our power, and I will make this proverb to cease. No longer will the vision fail, is what he's saying. It will all come to full fruition. Verse 23 again. Tell them, therefore, thus saith Yahweh power, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Yasha'Allah. And we can apply this same verse in this time that we are living, because all things in scripture are that of double. That's written in Job, I believe. Tell them, therefore, thus saith Yahweh our power, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Yasha'Allah. But say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision. Things are set in motion. We can evidently see the rise of Yahweh's visitation being brought upon all nations and kingdoms. For what? For the sake and the controversy of Zion, his people, his elect, his cluster of grapes. Yahweh's making an inquisition in the earth for all the abominations therein. We are warning our people to turn back. While you see all these things on TV and on your phones and all this escalation of trouble and perils, there is a way to escape it, and that is through the strong arm of Yahweh or Yahweh Shai, and keeping his ways, guarding his word, purging yourself of iniquity, separating yourselves from the lust of the flesh. Revive thy works, Father. We are calling on Yahweh or Yahweh Shai to revive his works. Right? Let's go to Habakkuk, back to Habakkuk real quick, and we'll grab one verse. Habakkuk Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 3. He says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. There are still those living in the world, in the house of mirth, unbeknownst to them that there is troubles, perils, and tribulations being set all around them, and they are still living it up and living their best life, not taking any action, not being spiritually prepared for the things to come, especially the nation of Yasha Allah out there, the 12 tribes of Israel. They're still living in folly, and they're going to be caught utterly off guard and cut off from the remnant. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. It is not our time, but we watch the timeline of events manifest and unfold and declare them. There's all said perils that are being cooked up as we speak. Habakkuk 2 and 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Right? Because he's going to make that proverb to cease. No longer will it be delayed and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it. He says, wait for it. His word is going to come to pass. Because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Every vision is going to be evidently in your face. And you have the time and the opportunity right now. The mercy window is still being extended unto you. If you could receive this word, if you can hearken and take action according to this word, there is an opportunity and an extension of mercy and salvation being extended unto you. 2nd Esdras chapter 9, like we just quoted. 2nd Esdras chapter 9 and verse 1 to 5. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. This is a command to watch. And when you watch, you are measuring thou the time diligently. You're staying focused on what the report has said and watching the world timeline manifest in front of you. You no longer are glued to the TV watching football all day, or watching folly or cat videos, or anything that does not bring forth edification unto your salvation, and watching the times diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs pass, you watch part of the signs pass, because part of it is tarrying, and it will come into full fruition, and then you will be able to identify it within the scriptures via the prophets, the apostles, the bishops, the teachers, the elders. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world in which he has made. Right? Because the day of Yahweh's visitation draweth nigh. When you're watching the time, measuring down the time diligently itself, you will understand that it's the very same time in which Yahweh will begin to visit the world in which he had made. The beginning of much sorrows, Jacob's trouble, end time events. 2nd Ezra chapter 9 verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes, we just seen more earthquakes happen in Venezuela, that double, they received double. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, Yahweh's making an inquisition in the world. Verse 4, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. He says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. This is what his word declares. This is sharing the same spirit here. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is being manifest. The end is being manifest. It's being declared unto you. There are those that are not even being prophetically fed with this understanding, and they can see that there's things on the rise. There's an escalating of more people becoming prepper and in tune to those things and storing up things for the days of wrath and judgment. But our people do not consider. Our people do not hearken. They laugh and scoff. They turn the music up when you're trying to edify. You're like a nice song that they like to hear all the time, but they take no action. And when these things are evidently in their face, they will not be able to escape. This is what Yahweh Shai has declared. They have mocked and scoffed at the messengers of the Most High Yahweh or Yahweh Shai. Mark, St. Mark chapter 13. St. Mark chapter 13. And we'll grab verse 5 to 8. And Yahushai answering them began to say, take heed lest any man deceive you. There's those that are saying things are going to go back to normal. This is just a bump in the road. We always bounce back. There's those saying that you don't need to worry, but we should make haste to seek Yahweh while he may be found and get this understanding. Be spiritually prepped and primed for the times to come. And Yahushai answering them began to say, take heed lest any man deceive you. There are deceivers in the earth. Why? Because they were not called into this marvelous light to get this understanding. For many shall come in the name, saying, I am the anointed one, and shall deceive many. Deceive many. There's going to be many deceived, and only a few elect that will not be deceived. And when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, be ye not troubled, for such things must needs be, but the end shall not be yet. Right? Because prophecy, all prophecy has to be declared. We are measuring thou the times diligently in itself, but the end shall not be yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be earthquakes. Right? We're touching on that earthquakes because we just witnessed that in Venezuela. There's all kind of reports going out. Philippines, Japan, a lot of earthquakes. They're escalating. And there shall be earthquakes in diverse places, and there shall be famines and troubles. These are the beginning of sorrows. These are just the beginning of the birth pains, right? Because as these things start to escalate, it's almost like a domino effect. This is going to happen. It's going to be a cause and effect because of this, and this has to take place, and this, and this, and this. It's going to be so much information overload, trials, and tribulation that those unsuspecting and not paying attention and haven't hearkened unto the word is going to be overtaken by the Lord's wrath. Beginning of sorrows, right? Yahweh's visitation and the controversy of Zion. All these judgments are for the redemption of his chosen people, his elect. Let's go to 2nd Esdras. 2nd Esdras. 2nd Esdras chapter 16. 2nd Esdras chapter 16. And we'll grab verse 17 to 19. It reads, woe is me. Woe is me, declares Ezra. Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. No one will have an answer for you. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? This is the prophet Ezra crying out, asking who will deliver me in those days when these judgments do come, and they will surely come. Because Yahweh Yahushai has declared unto it for all the abominations and the iniquities that are done within the earth. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death. So earthquakes happen. You can't deliver food. If an earthquake has destroyed a village, you can't deliver food that way. You're not going back to that house anymore. There's not going to be electrical power. There's not going to be any water. There's going to be sewage and septic everywhere. There's going to be people stealing and looting because their babies are hungry, because their wives are hungry. They're tired of crying. Oh, there's a dog. That looks like food to us. There's going to be chaos everywhere. This is not folly. This is not folly. This is what happens when war and destruction arise all around you. People are psychotic because they're in their flesh. They have not been prepared to rest in Yahweh, in the spirit. Right? Continuing on in 2nd Esdras chapter 16 and verse 19. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. All these things are sent out as scourges for amendment, for iniquity and sin, for being very proudful. being wayward, being rebellious, being deceptive, being a liar, being a thief, being a fornicator, being all these things. Everything but repentant. Birth pangs, they will intensify. We're going to grab 2 more verses in 2nd Ezra chapter 16. Jump down to, continuing on, 20 and 22. It says, but for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals, the goods that you see in your stores, the things that you can still afford while there's currency to go and get those things. You can still put a little fuel in your car. You can still go and buy those things that you like at Walmart, at Kroger, at this place and that place. Victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in a good case. They'll still be comfortable knowing that even though the price of goods are escalating, they still can go and get those things. They shall think themselves to be in a good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. Right? The beginning of birth pains. All these things are going to come to a point, and that point is very perilous and destructive. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 13. Isaiah chapter 13. Seek ye the Lord Yahweh while he may be found. Isaiah chapter 13, 6 to 9 reads, howl ye, howl, cry out, howl, very sorrowful, not like a dog. Howl ye, for the day of Yahweh is at hand, and it shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. It's the Most High Yahweh, our power himself, that is the King of terrors. He is very evil and very strong and very dark and very merciful and very loving and very kind. Return to him. Let him wash you, scrub you down, so you may have favor. Destruction from the Almighty. There shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. We can see what's going on in the world and how these other countries are handling turmoil. It's very disastrous and destructive. No water, no food, people being deleted left and right, people watching children, and all these other things coming into fruition. Verse 8, and they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Right? Anguish, sorrow, much mourning and woes. That's what's coming. That's what Yahweh Shai is ultimately bringing. Our Messiah, he's the King of righteousness. Righteousness. You cannot stand before him as a dirty rag. You must be washed so he can identify with you as being like him, being clean and righteous. He will pass over you. He's going to be very thirsty for blood. His raiment is going to be dyed and dripped in sangre. That means blood. This is the word. This is the word. This is what is written in the scriptures. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 24. Isaiah chapter 24. For those that can receive this report and hold it, this is for you. This message might frighten people, but you don't sugarcoat the truth. That's a sin. That's a sin when you don't tell people the truth. When you hide the truth, when you steer away from certain scriptures, when you shy away from it to appease the audience, that is iniquity. That's iniquity, and the person that does that is going to be destroyed as well. Because there are souls that require the truth to have the full understanding of the things to come. If you can't receive this word of judgment and wrath and anguish and disaster and blessing and repentance, then you are in iniquity. You are found in iniquity. You don't lie to someone. You see the doctors, they don't try to give a false report to the person they just diagnosed. They might have AIDS or cancer. Well, it looks like, you're going to be sick for a little while. Doc, what is it? I don't know, just drink some orange juice and do some exercises. Doc, what are you reading there? We'll play it by ear. We'll see if you get better. No, that's iniquity. That's sin. That's hiding the truth. A false report. When you don't declare these things, you are a deceiver and you work for your father, the devil. And you are just like everyone else out there. The Father hates that. Isaiah chapter 24 and verse 1. Behold, Yahweh maketh the earth empty and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down and scatter abroad the inhabitants thereof. It's like taking a bag and just shaking it, because now he wants to see what was in that bag. He's going to sort it out. He's going to pluck some out of there. He's going to do these things. He's going to turn the earth upside down. It's not going to be a place of habitation anymore. Those places that you like to commit fornication and being a drunkard and watching your disgusting videos and doing all these things, he's going to turn it upside down. Jumping to verse 3 in Isaiah chapter 24, it says, the land shall utterly be emptied and utterly spoiled, for Yahweh hath spoken this word. How come they don't read this stuff on the Sunday masses, huh? I can only imagine what those faces would look like coming out after receiving a report like that. They wouldn't want to go to Denny's or IHOP afterwards. Maybe, I don't know. Isaiah chapter 24 and verse 3. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for Yahweh hath spoken this word. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled. The earth is defiled. If you're one of those people that wants to get along to just have peace and all these things, while you're thinking that way, the earth is being spoiled and defiled. From the east to the west to the north to the south. There has to be a hard reset. The sinners need to be removed up out of earth. They have to pack their bags and go. That's what we're reading here in Isaiah chapter 24. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinances, broken the everlasting covenant. All those churches out there, every last one of them that tell you all you got to do is have belief and faith. That's all you need. There's no instructions on how to live in earth and be upright and have favor of the Father if you're outside of that understanding. You're in iniquity. You're living in iniquity and you're teaching iniquity. You're passing your children through the fire so they can receive the same judgment. The earth is also defiled. They eat all kinds of things out of the ocean they should not. They eat all kinds of animals that walk upon the earth they should not. They say, oh, you just believe and receive it with thanksgiving. You're going to meet the Father face to face. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinances, and broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore have the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left in it. This is what the Most High has. This is his perfect will. He wants his house restructured, cleansed up, and all those vagabonds out of it. They are polluting the earth and polluting the children, polluting the animals. They pollute the oxygen. They pollute the ground. They pollute the water. Just have peace. Just be peaceful. Just love. Just love. 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 49. This is the word. It says, I will send plagues upon thee. No, he's going to send gift cards and teddy bears and balloons. And no, it's going to be a day of destruction. The Lord's visitation is a day of darkness, mourning and woes, gloominess and wrath. Just believe. 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and 49. I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death. This is why we fear Yahweh Shai, and keep his ways, and feed his sheep, and do the best of our ability to walk in his ways and guard his word, and receive his message while he may be found, because all these things are destruction and death. This is a serious word. He says, I will send widowhood. Let's get that. Isaiah. He says, I will send widowhood. Isaiah 47. What are you talking about, Father? You're going to send widowhood. Isaiah 47, verse 8 and 9. Therefore, hear now this. We're Isaiah 47 and verse 8 and 9. Therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures. You see them. They're watching a FIFA game. They got plans to summer vacation. There's people building summer homes. Therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. These are those very prideful Babylonians that live in that careless fashion. Refrigerators and deep freezers full of food. Cases of Gatorade here and there. Snicker bars underneath of their refrigerator, underneath their couches or beds. Children, 3 years old, big old iPads and cell phones. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. You think that the Most High can't hear you? You don't know that there's angels all around recording this every single second. Everything you do, everything you think, everything you say. You think that you can get away? Boy, are you going to be surprised. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. This is that great Babylon, the whore, and all the people, all the inhabitants therein. They think the same way. I'll grab verse 11, Isaiah chapter 47, verse 11. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, and thou shalt not know from where it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly. Suddenly. All these things will pop up on you suddenly, right? Which thou shalt not know. They'll pop up on you suddenly, because you were not watching suddenly. We're still touching on 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 49. He says, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood. We touched on that. Poverty. How are you going to send poverty, Father? What does your word declare, and what does it say? Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 14 to 16. It says, and Yahweh hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt. We are in Babylon, Sodom and Egypt spiritually. And Yahweh hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work. Nothing but mistakes here. Thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit, neither shall there be any work for Egypt. You will not have no work, because of all the destruction, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. Verse 16, in that day shall Egypt be like unto women, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of Yahweh of hosts, which he shaketh over it. This is the Lord's visitation. There will be no work. That is poverty, right? Because if you don't have the necessary ways to get what you need, those victuals being so cheap, you will not have what you need. You will be in utter chaos and poverty. With that, we're going to grab Revelation chapter 6. Revelation chapter 6. We'll get a few verses from John the Revelator. Revelation chapter 6, and I'll start at verse 5. It says, "And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, 'Come and see.' And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand." That's an economic situation, a power of balances. "And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." This is the cost of goods being increased, and those commodities being shrunk. You will have to pay more money for less substance. Verse 7. "And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, 'Come and see.' And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat upon him was Death, and hell followed him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beast of the earth." These are judgments sent out for scourges for amendment. We got earthquakes, famines, pestilence, civil unrest, diseases, economic powers coming to a halt. Ultimately, we're going to see and feel the effects of famine. No food, no water. That's coming. That's coming. With that, we'll grab 2nd Ezra chapter. I think I read that one. 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 13. No, I didn't read that one. He says, "They that till the ground shall mourn." These are those that are thinking they're going to hedge against hyperinflation and grow their own crops to combat the lack of food and commodities. But the Father has a plan. He says, 2nd Ezra chapter 15 verse 13, it says, "They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting and the hail, and with fearful consolation." The Most High has a plan for everything. There's no way to escape these judgments. The only way to escape them is by keeping his word and seeking the Father and crying out to him and repenting for your iniquities. That is how you get out of trouble. Lamentation chapter 4 and verse 9. Lamentation chapter 4 and verse 9. It says, "They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. It's better that you be deleted by the sword rather than you facing famine and hunger and watching all those that you love around you face the same thing because of your hard-heartedness and your stiff-neck and your inability to hearken unto Yahweh while he may be found. This is all your fault, and it lies within you. For these pine away, stricken through for want of the fruits of the field." You're going to be sitting there wishing you weren't such a glutton, stuffing your face with burgers and fries all day. I'm speaking to myself and first and foremost. Always me first. I receive these words. I make the corrections to prove myself and examine myself so I don't fall in that category of those that will utterly be cast out. Abaratazah. Let's go to Luke. St. Luke, because destruction will come upon you suddenly if you do not hearken. Right? There's many people that are not listening and watching and making all the incorrect moves on pleasing the Father. They're looking to save their life. They're looking to build up a situation for themselves. It's going to be an utter snare unto you by doing so. Because you take that power into your own hand. You plan to deliver yourself and do not regard his strong arm that is able to rescue and save. Luke chapter 17 verse 26, and it says, and as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man." This is Luke chapter 17 verse 26. "And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, and were given into marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all." Them all that were doing these things, they did not enter into the ark. They did not prepare themselves in the way that they should. Right? This does not give you the instructions to go build out a bunker. The ark is his word. Receive his word of righteousness and take his corrections. Verse 28. It says, likewise also as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted and builded. These are those that are farming and thinking they can go and make themselves a homestead and somehow escape the judgments to come. That is going to make him very, very angry. You just made yourself a little god unto him. Likewise, also as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Lot wasn't preparing himself in that fashion. The Most High says, if you love me, feed my sheep. If you love me, keep my commands. This is how you show the love of the Father. You don't show the love of the Father by being self-willed, being rebellious, and doing what you want to do, mocking and scoffing at the messengers. His messengers, they have his seal, his name in him, in them. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 3. Jeremiah chapter 3. Jeremiah chapter 3. Start at verse 12 to 15. It reads, go and proclaim these words towards the north and say, return, thou backsliding Yasha'Allah, Israel, the 12 tribes. Return to Yahweh or Yahweh Shai while you still can. Go and proclaim these words towards the north. We are in the north country. And say, return, thou backsliding Israel, saith Yahweh, I will not cause mine anger to fall upon you, for I am merciful, saith Yahweh, and I will not keep my anger forever. This is a warning to seek him. Verse 13, only acknowledge thine iniquity. You have to investigate the scriptures and seek out those things that pertain unto your iniquity, which is all of them, and repent from them and keep his ways. Only acknowledge thine iniquity, that thou hast transgressed against Yahweh your power, and hast scattered thy ways to the strangers under every green tree, and ye have not obeyed my voice, saith Yahweh power. You are mirroring those of the heathen nation. You are hoisting up their flags and celebrating their unholy days, eating their types of foods, acting like them. You have scattered your ways under every green tree. You are become estranged from him. I don't know you. Who are you? Why you dress like that? Why you smell like that? Why you speak like that? What's all over your face? What did you eat? Who are you married to? Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 14. Turn, O backsliding children, saith Yahweh, for I am married unto you, and I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion, out of the land of your captivity, for this is not your rest. Micah 2 and 10. And I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you. Why? Because if you love him, feed my sheep. Teach them, exhort them, give them the truth, whether or not they hear or forbear. They say, oh, that message, it sounds like anger. Which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. Because we fear Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. You don't do this work, you're out of here. You will receive all the judgments that are written therein. His mercy is still stretched out if you can receive this word. Even though your sins be red as scarlet, you will be forgiven. But he says, only acknowledge thine iniquity. Only acknowledge your iniquity and take this word to the bank. Take this word to the bank because it holds weight, right? And do not mock at the messengers of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. That is a travesty. That is a travesty. He says, touch not mine anointed and do my prophets no harm. Second Chronicles chapter 36 and verse 15 and 16, it reads, and Yahweh thy power of their fathers sent to them by his messengers, rising up betimes and sending, because he had compassion on his people and on his dwelling place. He sends you messengers to deliver you the word, because he has anointed them to preach good tidings, but the people go, eh. Verse 16, But they mocked the messengers of the Most High and despised his words and misused his prophets until the wrath of Yahweh rose up against his people till there was no remedy. There will be no remedy for famine. There will be no remedy for civil unrest. There will be no remedy for plagues and pestilence and diseases. There will be no remedy. No more remedy. No more remedy. The Father is going to turn his face away from you. He's not going to hearken or listen to any of your cries or prayers at all, because you have not kept any of his ways and you rejected his sincere word that he's put out upon you in love. Proverbs 1 and verse 24, it reads, because I have called and you refused, I have stretched out my hand and no man regardeth. But ye have set at naught all my counsel and would none of my reproof. You do not like reproof. You don't like to hear what you need to hear. You want to hear what you want to hear. You surround yourselves with those that have comforting words because you have itchy ears. You like to be surrounded by soothsayers, oil salesmen. You would not want none of his reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity, and I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you, then shall they call upon me. But what? But I will not answer. They shall not seek me early, but they shall not find me. Sorry, it says, they shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. You sought him too late. We'll continue on. Proverbs 1 and 29. For they that hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of Yahweh. You did not choose the fear of Yahweh or Yahweh Shai. They would none of my counsel. They despised all my reproof. How are you being reproved? How are you being edified? He has set up the teachers and the prophets and the apostles and the bishops. He has anointed them. He put his word in their mouth and they go regurgitate it out. It is his word that you hear from them and not their own word. Those that speak on their own behalf, he will dismiss and destroy. They would none of my counsel. They despised all my reproof. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way. You were self-willed. You did your own way. Now you go deliver yourself. You want to be a little soldier. You want to carry guns. You want to carry ARs and shotguns and grenades and all these other things and have a Hummer and all this other stuff. You want to go live off grid and create a community of people that are going to defend until the end times. Okay. You will have to eat of the fruit of your own way. You will not receive that rain of blessing and cover and be filled with their own devices. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. You thought you were so smart in your own conceit, right? The wisdom of this world is foolishness unto the Most High Yahweh Yahweh Shai. That's what he says, verse 33. But whoso hearkened unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from the fear of the evil, because his servants shall eat. His servants shall laugh with joy. His servants will be covered from the hell to come, and their children. So with that, I pray that this lesson was edifying unto the sincere sheep. Tawada Abanawa Yahweh for another opportunity to bring forth some edification unto the sincere sheep and the hopeful elect. With that, shalom and shalom.